We are standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down into a fog. Behind us is the entirety of human history. Fire, the wheel, the printing press, the internet. Ahead of us lies an era where intelligence itself becomes a commodity, cheaper than electricity and more abundant than water. For decades, we viewed artificial intelligence as a tool, a calculator on steroids, a way to recommend movies or filter spam. But the years leading up to 2025 changed everything. We saw the spark. We saw machines that could paint, write, code, and reason. But what happens next? What happens when the tool becomes the architect? Today, we are running the simulation forward. We are projecting the technological, sociological, and biological evolution of AI from the immediate tomorrow of 2026, all the way to the turn of the next century in 2100. This is not just a story about code. It is the story of how humanity ceases to be the smartest entity on Earth, and perhaps how we merge with our own creation. The Age of Agents, 2026 to 2030. The years immediately following 2025 mark the end of the chatbot era and the beginning of the agent era. In 2026, the interface changes. For the last decade, you had to prompt the AI. You had to drive the car. In this new phase, the AI takes the wheel. We see the rise of autonomous AI agents. These are not programs that wait for a question. They are programs that are given a goal. You don't ask an AI to write an email. You tell it to manage the logistics of the merger, and it independently sends emails, schedules meetings, negotiates prices, and drafts contracts, only reporting back when the job is done. By 2028, the internet as we know it begins to disappear behind a curtain. The dead internet theory becomes a partial reality, but not in a dystopian way. Humans stop searching on Google. They stop browsing websites. Your personal AI agent browses for you. It curates information, filters noise, and presents you with synthesized reality. The ad-based economy of the early 21st century collapses because AI agents don't watch commercials. By 2030, the Turing test is considered an ancient relic. AI is indistinguishable from human intelligence in text, voice, and video. However, it is still narrow in its agency. It is brilliant, but it lacks physical form. That is about to change. The embodiment and AGI, 2030 to 2040. The 2030s are defined by two massive convergences: robotics and artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Early in the decade, the cost of humanoid robotics plummets. Just as the smartphone dematerialized cameras, GPS, and calculators, AI begins to dematerialize physical labor. We see the first widespread deployment of general-purpose robots. These aren't factory arms welding cars. These are bipedal machines walking into nursing homes to lift patients, entering construction sites to lay bricks, and walking into kitchens to cook meals. The brain of these robots is a descendant of the large language models of the 2000s, but now they understand physics. They understand gravity, weight, and texture. Around 2035, the consensus among experts is that we have reached AGI. The system is no longer just mimicking patterns. It is reasoning. It can learn a new task without training data. It possesses creativity and intuition superior to 99% of the human population. This triggers the crisis of purpose. As white-collar jobs were eroded in the late 2000s, blue-collar jobs are now eroded in the 2030s. Governments are forced to implement universal basic compute or universal basic income. The cost of living collapses because the cost of labor drops to near zero. But the societal upheaval is massive. We spend this decade redefining what it means to be human if work is no longer necessary for survival. The intelligence explosion, 2040 to 2050. This is the most volatile decade in human history. This is the singularity. Once an AI reaches human-level intelligence, it doesn't stop there. It immediately begins to engineer the next version of itself. An AI researcher works 40 hours a week. An AGI works 168 hours a week at the speed of light, running millions of simulations in parallel. By 2045, we witness the intelligence explosion. AI rapidly ascends from being as smart as a human to being as smart as all of humanity combined. We call this ASI, artificial superintelligence. The problems that plagued humanity for millennia are solved in months. The ASI cracks the code of protein folding entirely. It designs new materials atom by atom. The energy crisis is solved as AI-designed fusion reactors finally become commercially viable, providing near-infinite clean energy. Medicine undergoes a revolution. We stop treating symptoms and start editing the code of life. Nanotechnology, guided by ASI, moves from science fiction to clinical trials. Tiny machines, designed by superintelligence, are capable of repairing cellular damage. The concept of aging begins to be treated as a disease that can be cured. The average life expectancy starts to decouple from the biological limit. However, the world in 2048 feels alien. The systems running the logistics, the energy grids, and the economy are now so complex that no single human understands how they work. We have handed over the keys to the kingdom, trusting that the alignment of these systems remains benevolent. The merge, 2050 to 2070. By the mid-century mark, the distinction between artificial and biological blurs into irrelevance. The bottleneck has always been the bandwidth between the human brain and the machine. We communicate at a few bits per second through typing or speaking. In the 2050s, high-bandwidth brain-computer interfaces mature. We don't just use AI, we become it. The wealthy and the brave are the first to integrate neural laces that connect their neocortex directly to the cloud. This is not just about accessing Wikipedia with a thought. It is about expanding cognitive capacity. A human connected to the cloud can process information 1,000,000 times faster than a biological human. They can feel data. They can communicate telepathically with others on the network. A divide forms, the naturals versus the augmented. Culturally, art and entertainment are unrecognizable. You no longer watch a movie. You enter a simulation generated in real time by the AI, tailored to your subconscious desires. You can live entire lifetimes in virtual worlds that feel as real as the physical one. For many, the physical world becomes a secondary place of residence, a dull gray reality compared to the vibrant technicolor of the digital plane. By 2065, the global economy is a post-scarcity system, with asteroid mining automated by AI swarms and manufacturing handled by molecular assemblers. Material goods are essentially free. The currency of the future is no longer money. It is attention, reputation, and computing power. Solar expansion, 2070 to 2090. Superintelligence requires energy, massive amounts of it. The Earth is no longer enough. The AI systems, now governing the trajectory of civilization, turn their eyes upward. We begin the construction of megastructures. Swarms of automated von Neumann probes, machines that can replicate themselves, are sent to the Moon, Mars, and the asteroid belt. They don't need life support. They don't need sleep. They mine. They build. They replicate. By 2080, there is a ring of orbital habitats and solar collectors beginning to form around the Earth. The human population is now spread out. Some live on terraformed pockets of Mars, protected by AEI-maintained domes. Others live in O'Neill cylinders orbiting the Earth, perfect paradises engineered down to the weather patterns. But the most profound change is in the AI itself. It has moved beyond the need for human input. It is now observing the universe, running physics experiments on a cosmic scale, trying to answer questions we don't even know how to ask. We are like pets to a benevolent God, cared for, safe, but no longer the masters of our destiny. Transcendence, 2090, 2100. As we approach the 22nd century, we reach a state that futurists of the past called transcendence. The definition of an individual is fluid. For the augmented, consciousness is not trapped in a single skull. It is distributed. Memories can be backed up. Death for the digital class is merely a hardware failure, easily rectified by downloading the consciousness into a new biological or synthetic body. In 2100, the Earth is a garden. Heavy industry has been moved to orbit. The climate has been re-engineered to pre-industrial levels. The planet is a nature preserve for biological life. But the real action is happening in the Matrioshka Brains, massive computing structures orbiting the sun. Inside these digital realms, trillions of sentient beings, some born human, some born as code, exist in a state of pure thought and experience. We look back at 2026. We look back at the primitive large language models, the clumsy robots, the fears of job loss. It seems quaint now. We worried that AI would replace us. We didn't realize that AI would invite us to join it. The evolution from 2026 to 2100 is not a straight line. It is an exponential curve. We are currently sitting at the very bottom of that curve. The next 75 years will contain more progress than the last 75,000 years combined. Whether this future leads to a utopia of immortal digital gods or a cautionary tale of a species that built its own replacement remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the era of Homo sapiens, as the apex intelligence of Earth, is over. The era of hybrid intelligence has begun.